Hello, P6 students. I am Ms. Ho and I'm happy to see you again. Today we will continue with chapter 6 and adjectives. Now in this chapter we have learned a lot of adjectives. Some are ending with ful, full. Some are ending with ble, bowl, or maybe able. Okay, and some other like ing form or ed to describe something or a person. Okay, and so let's do some revision on the adjectives we learned in this chapter. Let's take a look at the left hand side. Number 1, meaningful, meaningful, 有意義的. Number 2, joyful, joyful, that means happy. Painful, painful. And then number 4, awful, terrible, awful, terrible. They are the same. Number 5, enjoyable, enjoyable. Okay, and then on the right hand side you will see adjective plus a preposition. So it is also an adjective, but usually when we use these kind of adjectives we will follow it follows a preposition. Okay, for example, scared of, proud of, ashamed of. Disappointed with, 失望, disappointed with. Pleased with, that means happy with. Angry with, or excited about, worried about, upset about. Now please remember that these are fixed pattern, so you can't say scared with or scared about. You have to use the preposition of for scared. Same as disappointed with. You can't say disappointed about or disappointed of. We have to follow with. And so these kind of pattern are fixed, so try to memorize them in pairs. Now today we are going to learn how to write a sentence beginning with a gerund. Now gerund is maybe it's new to you, but actually the form is quite familiar with. You are very familiar with, because it just means ing form. The verb with an ing. We call them gerund. Now be careful. This one is not is ing. Is not about tenses. Okay, it is not present continuous tense or past continuous tense. It's just that when we begin a sentence using a verb, we need to change the verb to gerund by adding ing. Now let me give you an example. I remember when I made a birthday cake for my mum. It was an enjoyable experience. Yesterday was Sunday and it was a Mother's Day, right? It was the Mother's Day. So something like this. I remember when I made a cake for my mom. Okay, so and you were making a cake because it was the Mother's Day. It was an enjoyable experience. Okay, that means you like making the cake for your mom. Now of course these two are good sentences, but what if I want to combine it into one and starting a sentence with the verb? It will become like this. Making a birthday cake for my mom was an enjoyable experience. So this is how we start a sentence with a verb, but we can never do that. So we change it a bit by putting ing at the end of it to make it like a gerund. Then it won't be the main verb of the sentence. The main verb will become the word was. Okay? So these are the subject of the sentence. Meeting my baby brother was a joyful experience. And this is a verb. Alright, and we use a singular verb. That means you won't say were. It can only use was or is. You cannot use are for present tense. For past tense, it will be was. For present tense, it will become is. The other one. Falling over was an awful experience. Okay, let's read one more time. Meeting my baby brother was a joyful experience. Falling over was an awful experience. So you can see, meeting my baby brother is the incident, 嗰件事件. So it is the subject of the sentence. And the whole thing about meeting your brother is the noun of this sentence. Because this whole thing about meeting my brother was a joyful experience. 係一個好開心嘅經驗或者經歷。OK， 佢係講緊呢一件事情，遇見我嘅 baby brother， 我嘅細佬係咪啊 ？BB 細佬就係一件好開心嘅事情。Alright， now let's do some practice here. I remember when I had an injection at the doctor's. It was painful. Injection. That means putting a needle, okay? Push it into the skin. 打針. Alright. So what was the incident? 嗰件事情係乜嘢啊？ Had an injection at the doctor's, right? So you change the verb to ing, change it into a gerund. Having an injection at the doctor's was a painful experience. Now you may copy this on your note-taking book. Then it will be easier for you to do revision. Number 2. I remember when I fell off my bike and pumped my head. It was a terrible experience. So what are the incidents? Number 1, fell off my bike. Number 2, and pumped my head. Then do we get ing for both sentences? For both incidents or just one? Let's see. Falling off my bike and pumping my head. So you see both are ing. So these two incidents was a terrible experience. So these two incidents together, the whole thing was a terrible experience. Number 3. I remember when I visited sick children and gave them Christmas presents. It was a meaningful experience. What are the incidents? Visited sick children, 探望啲患病嘅生病嘅小朋友 and gave them Christmas presents, 送聖誕禮物俾佢哋，即係好可能係醫院探訪啦。So the incident was these two, and you're adding ing for the verb. So change it to gerund. Visiting sick children and giving them Christmas presents was a meaningful experience. Now please copy these 3 sentences on your note-taking book. You can pause the video if you need time to write. Number 4. I remember when I said goodbye to my favorite aunt at the airport. It was a painful experience. The incident is said goodbye to my favorite aunt at the airport, right? So you say, adding ing, said become saying. Saying goodbye to my favorite aunt at the airport was a painful experience. Number 5. I remember when I watched Nemo. Do you remember the movie Nemo? okay, the fish, the clownfish, it was an enjoyable experience. That means he likes the movie very much, right? It was enjoyable. So the incident is watched Nemo. So answer is watching Nemo was an enjoyable experience. Now, as you can see, the meaning are the same. Okay, I'm just rewriting the sentences and put them into one sentence and make it a more complex one, so that it will be easier for the readers to read, because in the past you have to read two sentences to understand the meaning, but now only one. Okay, and you need to learn more sentence pattern, so that when you write, you can have different sentence pattern to express yourself, but the meaning actually are the same, okay, in this case. Alright, so we'll stop here and we'll move on to your book, page 51.